Hello. Does your partner criticize you or communicate in the form of some form of an attack, something that feels hurtful? This is the topic today. I am Shauna White, Heartfelt Intimacy Coach, and I am going to share this video inside my group. This video is in response to some of my group members. So one of the benefits of being a member of my group, a member of my flock, is that I will make videos to answer your questions or speak to your questions. Okay, so just bear with me a quick moment while I share this in my group because, Facebook is a little weird and doesn't let me stream directly into my group, which means everybody gets to benefit from these questions. And there we go. Okay, so the situation we are examining today is one where someone's partner is either very critical, you can't do anything right, he or she always has something to say about how you should be different than you are, or a kind of different form of the same thing is if your partner, if your partner, in this case, the example given to me was seemed to have gotten a little bit nasty about casual conversation. How is your day? Well, I don't have to entertain you in conversation. And that appeared to be the response. So first things first, to sort this kind of thing out, you need a foundation that's going to give you some steadiness. So because, for instance, one of the things that needs to be clarified is, did the person mean what it sounded like that they said? Okay, this video is going to be a little bit messy because I got a lot to say, and I'm just going to let it flow organically. But the first thing is, okay, we're going to do it this way. So you need a clear foundation, because when we get emotional, then we can make assumptions and not take the best opportunity to clarify the situation. Now, that holds true whether your partner said something and you misunderstood it, or whether your partner said something and they meant to be nasty. So the best way to handle this is you're going to need to be strong in order to hold your partner accountable. When I work with people, it's a two-phase process. The first phase is rebalancing your own energy and getting your foundation strong. And then once you do that, then you're ready to go to phase two, which is, now I'm going to engage my partner with more accountability, gentle accountability, but piercing accountability. In other words, in order to have heartfelt intimacy that flows naturally, you need to be able to deeply understand each other and have all of the junk and the bumps in the road resolved so that you can actually really feel each other really closely. So if you have a situation now where there's two partners, and I'm just going with the information I have, one of them's getting nasty sometimes or is critical, that's a kind of aggressive energy. And so you need a strong foundation for your own clarity so you don't get wigged out and confused when it happens. So some of those foundations that I would support you in if you were working with me. See, I don't want to tell people what to do, but from my perspective, the foundation that's going to support you that way is that you understand what love is as a spiritual energy. The reason that's important as a spiritual energy is because love as a human emotion or a human dynamic, that's different for everybody. That's like everybody's got their own definition of love, but you need something that's stable, that's going to give you the grounds for discernment. So you need to get clear and understand and kind of get a feeling for the energy of divine love, the way that feels inside you. One of the ways that you can connect with that, if you don't have that energy available to you, is you can meditate on the fruit of the Spirit. I'm not going to be able to list them all off the top of my head, but patience, gentleness, kindness, honesty. The fruit of the Spirit describe how, when someone is aligned with love, the way that they behave. The reason why this is important is because if you want to be able to question your partner's behavior, but you don't want that questioning to be about you versus him or you versus her. You want that questioning to be about what's right and what's wrong in general. And not in general, what's right and what's wrong in absolute truth. That's why we want to lean on the character of divine love, the reality that divine love creates. This is how we find the order and harmony in a world of chaos, is by standing on this foundation of divine love and the way that divine love expresses itself. So you may have done something wrong, or you may have done something offensive, but that doesn't make your partner right for acting in a nasty way. So both people can be wrong, or one person can be wrong, one person can be right. Both people can be right, but the way that you find that out is not like by arguing about who's right and who's wrong. The way you find that out is by what is aligned with love, what is expressing the character of love versus what is expressing something other than the character of love or other than alignment with love. For instance, I think I should give you an example here. So alignment with love is, let's see. I'll give you this example, actually. I had an experience with someone on Facebook recently, a woman that I didn't know, but had a brief exchange with, that was kind of like, oh, hey, I like you. Oh, hey, that's cool. Let's be Facebook friends. So we became Facebook friends. And then she then wanted to talk about, in our private channel, she wanted to talk about some stuff that I really didn't know what to make of. It was kind of pretty bold. And but I was just trying to be open-minded with her. But then the way I was being open-minded with her, she took offense to it. I'm like, really? So I didn't say anything. I was just trying to be like really engaged with what she was saying, but she didn't like the way I engaged via text. So I was like, okay, let me send her an audio so she can hear my voice and understand I'm not trying to make fun of her or be sarcastic or anything. And for some reason, she just escalated, and I remained calm and tried to explain myself to let her know I'm not attacking her, but she just escalated. So I ended up blocking her. Now, this is the reason I'm bringing this up, is because in retrospect, I realized that I didn't check in my alignment. I didn't think I had to. I didn't think it was any big deal. Like, hey, Facebook friend, whatever, we chat a little bit. So I wasn't really on my guard. But the fact is that I didn't check in my alignment to feel what's the expression of love here that's aligned with divine love, as far as friend requesting her or accepting her friend request and talking with her. So I made some wrong moves. They weren't bad moves. They weren't demonstrations of poor character, but it was a moment where I was my vigilance for being an expression of love was relaxed, and I was leaning on my rules of polite societal engagement instead. And that's That's okay, but that's different than alignment with love. So when I reflected on the situation afterward, I was like, oh, well, interesting. I see a place where I went wrong versus right. Like right and wrong is about, are you aligned with love or are you not? So even in that case, I wasn't being mean or rude, but I was wrong in the sense that I hadn't paid enough attention to whether my actions in that situation were being were the way that the energy of divine love would have moved me to be. Okay. So again, this is like, thou shalt not judge. This is not about me deciding what divine love is supposed to look like. Was it loving? I behaved in a loving way with her, and I was very fair. I was very calm. I was, all those things. But was I in the right place on the planet? I have to ask. You have to ask the presence of divine love to know that. So I just wanted to share that with you to help you understand what I'm talking about when I'm talking about being aligned with divine love. That it's not about judging what's good and bad or whether somebody did something okay or not. It's about paying attention to whether you're actually moving as an expression of this energy inside you, or whether you're off in your head. And that matters because when we move from our head, we can say something that's annoying to another person. And I'm not taking responsibility for how escalated that lady got. But that's part of what can go on with your partner, is that if you're in your head or you're leaning on your ideas about how love is supposed to look, you could say something that's irritating to your partner. Again, that doesn't excuse your partner for acting a different way than the character of the spirit, the fruit of the spirit. Now, the reason you want to get clear on what kind of expressions love creates is so that you can ask your partner questions when your partner behaves differently than the character of love. And you can stand in the authority of knowing that even if you did something wrong, the way that he or she is behaving, there's something off with it and it's not your fault. This is how we get to hold a foundation of innocence inside us and speak from there, ask questions from there, that to know that in the reality that love creates, you are a child of God. So if you're not unlovable, you're not supposed to be different than you are, right? You are beautiful in a state of beingness. Nothing more is required of you than beingness in order to be lovable. This is the principle of the reality of love. So if you can stay with that foundation, then when your partner comes at you with something critical or something a little bit nasty, if you really stay rooted in your foundation of innocence, and takes a tremendous amount of strength to do this, especially when someone that you love is being a little nasty, okay? But you can then ask the question, what's going on with you? Like, everything's so peachy. I'm totally innocent. What's the bug up your butt? I'm not saying this is easy, okay? It's hard, but that's the way the kind of the resolution has to come about ultimately, is you holding steady in yourself in a loving place as best you can, and asking clarifying questions, just asking clarifying questions and standing in the truth of your own innocence, that your partner does not have the authority to judge you. Your partner does not have the authority to judge you. So if your something's coming across the airwaves from your partner and it's nasty, you can ask your partner, whoa, what is it that bothered you about what I did? Or we'll just keep asking clarifying questions. But the problem is that we buy it. We buy something that our partner says, and then we feel like we have to fix it. We feel hurt by what our partner said because we bought it a little bit. And I completely understand, you're in an intimate partnership with somebody and it's hard to go to a place of like, dude, you're totally off. And it has nothing to do with me. That is a hard place to go. But that's the place where you're a lot closer to sorting it out, because your own emotions are not getting all tangled up in the weird energy that's coming across to you from, over the airwaves from your partner. So to summarize, because I went on a little journey here. So to summarize, it takes a lot of strength to resist the programming. Okay, I just got to say one more thing. Like, we all have a wound of unlovableness in the core of our being. The reason we all have it, regardless of how your life played out up until now, is because we have not been taught. We've been sort of educated away from how to connect with the energy of divine love in the core of our being. But that inner connection is native and natural, and we miss it when we don't have it. But all the education tells you nothing about it and not how to do it, let alone that it doesn't even say that it exists, right? So our whole world is about a world of being physical creatures getting our needs met. And there's nothing about who we are as a divine being in that. So that hurts. That makes us feel deep down in the core of our being like we are unlovable. But all that feeling is the fact that that inner connection with divine love is missing. And in the place where it's missing, it feels flat. And if you go inside and you feel that flat place, you go, oh God, that's proof. That's proof that I'm unlovable. And then we each have our own experience, usually experiences when we're younger, but also experiences when we're an adult that get wrapped around that feeling of unlovability. For me, it was when my mom passed away and I felt that I didn't matter. I was young and I didn't understand her leaving. And I felt God is a loving God, or my mom is a loving mom, but has better things to do than to take care of me. And I don't matter. And that's the understanding that got wrapped around my core pain, that love is gone. And a love that should be there is missing. So you're going to have a different story than that, but it's wrapped around the same pain. A love that should be there is missing. So when your partner says something nasty to you, gets a little critical or a lot critical, or just kind of says something in a defensive way that feels like an attack, that's someone that you've been trusting that you can experience love with. And yet we're all humans. And to be in relationship with someone who is capable of making those kinds of mistakes inside themselves, that's a mistake. That's not the way things are supposed to be. That is someone acting out their own pain and projecting it onto you. And so it takes a tremendous amount of strength to choose to continue to be in that relationship and to continue to be open to that person. But in that moment that they're acting like that, do not consume what they're saying as though that is food for your heart, because it's not. It is someone who is acting in a way that people only act when they feel disconnected. And we all go through stuff where we feel disconnected. But if your partner is acting in a non-patient, non-gentle, non-kind way, it means they're crazy. Okay? The alignment with divine love is sanity and disconnection from that interconnection with love creates insanity. And we all go through it. And it's normalized because it's all around us. But for you to stand up against that, or stand up in the face of it, I don't want to say stand up against it, stand up in the face of it and say, I am innocent and I'm going to ask you a question about what you're going through. And there's nothing wrong with me. If I did something wrong, okay, fine. I don't mind. I'm happy to look at that and we can have a conversation about that. But the way that you're communicating with me right now tells me that you're crazy, meaning you're not in alignment with love and you're expressing your pain to me right now. So what's the pain that you're expressing? Because there's just no reason for us to go to live in a place of pain and to act out a place of pain. Like that's the strength and the compassion from the perspective I'm trying to offer you, guide you to the perspective that you are going to need in order to resolve that situation where your partner is being nasty to you. If you're going to resolve it in a way that you're not going to leave, you're actually going to engage and give your partner the best chance, give the relationship the best chance to become or to return to a healthy dynamic, then that's where you need to be, is that place where you're strong in your own innocence and you're asking your partner, why are you so upset? It's not a way of gaslighting them to be like, oh, there's nothing to be upset about. Why are you acting upset? Like, it's okay for people to be upset. But you can also like lay down the rules. Like for me, if someone's going to be non-gentle, they can take a hike. Like, forget it. I'm not available for even friendship with someone who's not gentle and kind. People need to have enough perspective to maintain kindness and gentleness in their communication with me, or they can take a hike. So, but I'm, so you can say that to your partner. That might actually be a redeeming thing to say, because maybe your partner needs to know that that way of communicating is not acceptable. And if they value the relationship, then they need to reconsider what they're doing. That can be part of the conversation. But I want to also just circle back really quick to, before you get hard, get clear. So ask those clarifying questions. So what did you actually mean? What are you actually feeling? What's actually happening for you? And get that expressed and into the air so that at least you're understanding what's going on in your partner's mind. Once you know what's going on in your partner's mind, if your partner is a little on the belligerent side or a little on the nasty side, then you can tackle that with like, why are you going there? Like, I'm not here to do conflict with you. I'm here to be in love with you. Can we work this out in a gentle way? Like, I'm listening. You don't have to yell, right? That's sometimes what makes people get loud, is if they feel like they're not being heard. So that's another thing to look out for, to examine in your relationship is has your partner been saying something that they feel like they have to say over and over and over again, anyway, just for you to know that your partner might get loud if they feel like they're not being heard. And that doesn't mean that it's your fault. Hello, Mohammed. It doesn't mean that it's your fault if they can't be heard. Sometimes people don't know how to express themselves well. So people do need to be helped to get out what they're feeling and get out what's bothering them. But for you to be able to do that with your partner, you really need to be able to support yourself, create a space of safety for yourself inside your own foundation. And that's kind of the summary of what I've been talking about here. So I hope that helps. I am, for the members of my group, if you have a clarifying question about this topic, then let me know, and I'm happy to do a part 2 on this topic, or a deep dive into whatever your next question is. And okay, I hope that this was helpful, and I hope you have a great weekend. Okay, thanks. Bye for now.